Welcome. If you're watching this video, you likely have purchased the FlexUC product and are looking at some basic tips to get you started. So why don't we dive right in? As a new FlexUC user, the first thing that you're going to want to do is change the password to your Accession or MaxUC communicator. So go to the top where it says File. If you're a Windows user, please keep in mind your File, Meetings, and Tools bar are going to be right here at the top of the communicator itself. Since I'm a Mac or iOS user, it is here at the top. You can see change password. We're going to click on that. You're going to put your Flex IP Solutions provided password in right here. Type in a new password of your choosing, verify it, and then click on change password. This allows you to keep a secure accession communicator so nobody can hack it and start playing around with your status and making calls and all that fun stuff. So please do remember to change your password. Let's get started with a little personalization. Go up next to your name, click on the circle, and then hit Change Avatar. First, I'm going to remove my current avatar, which is the Flex logo. Then I'm going to go down and choose Avatar. And I'm going to put back the Flex icon and logo and just go ahead and click on Save, and you'll see that it populates right there. Keep in mind that everybody that can see your presence will be able to see the icon or photo that you have uploaded, and that's one quick way to personalize your Accession communicator, also known as MaxUC. So one thing that you're probably going to want to do right off the start is your contacts. Now there's a couple different ways we can go about this. The first one, you can go up to Accession Communicator, Preferences, and then you can see it says Use Contacts From. Now, for your organization, you might have a global file structure for your contacts. So the organization's contacts should be automatically loaded via Outlook or some other file. If you'd like to import other contacts, you can import, let's say it's asking me for my Apple contacts because I'm using a MacBook. You can do that. It'll also import them from other sources, Windows, laptops, things like that. The other way that you can add a contact very easily, so you can select this little pencil and paper icon, and it'll say Add Contact. You can go up for Windows products. You'll see a toolbar at the top here. For Apple or iOS users, you can come up here at the very, very top of the screen, and you can see there's an Add Contact. We'll go ahead and click on that, and we'll put Mr. Smith, and then we need a phone number. So how about 440-867-5309? Where did I hear that before? And go ahead and add that contact. Let's click on our contacts, and you'll see Mr. Smith has populated. Let's say we wanted to add Mr. Smith to our favorites page. As you can see here, we're just going to find Mr. Smith, right click on him, click on Add Favorites. Now Mr. Smith will populate over here on our favorites, and we can call him anytime we want. Now let's say Mr. Smith changed some information. We can right click once again, hit Edit Contact, and now we can add an organization, ABC Co. Ltd. And if you wanted, you can put his email in there, so on and so forth. So we've just updated Mr. Smith. And that is how you can add and edit contacts. If you're new to Unified Communications, you might not have experience with something called presence. So you can see here that Mr. Smith has no color in his little circle and no presence info is stated. However, example 1, you can see, is online. Very similar to John Doe here, myself, I am online. That is called presence, and that signals and alerts other members in your organization that you are available and online to take chats or calls. So you can change this. You can go down and select on your name and click on busy, and you will see that your status has changed to orange, and it'll say busy, and that is how everybody will see your presence. This alerts them to not interrupt you, that you're potentially in a call or a meeting. Another thing you can do is you can change your message to a custom message, like in a meeting. Now when you're done, you can always change it back to online. You can see that it changed to green for online. Don't forget to delete out your custom message, otherwise you will be online in a meeting. We do not want that. And that is presence. Now I want to take you through some of the settings and preferences that Accession Communicator has that you as a user can change. Now, if you're a Windows user, at the top of your Accession Communicator bar here or interface, you'll see the settings, file, meetings, and tools tabs. For an Apple user like myself, it's at the top of the page. So I'm going to click on the Accession Communicator and hit Preferences. Windows users, please hit Settings. And then you'll be directed to a new screen that has popped up. We're in the General tab. And here you can do things like change your ringtone. So by default, you have the Accession Communicator ringtone, which is a very distinct ringtone if you've ever heard it. You can also select from about 10 or so different choices, or you may upload your own audio file. You can also choose what happens when you double click on something. So right now, if I double click, I will see the contact details. So if I wanted to quickly change their email address or phone number, all I have to do is double click on a contact and that pops up. However, if I wanted to call a contact or open a chat window or invite to a meeting, I can select those options. But for now, I'm going to keep it as changing contact details. Now, if you are doing any sort of recordings, you can change the file path for where the recordings are saved to. You can choose a folder, but right now I just have it saved locally to Accession Communicator, and you can open the file and see your recordings there. Now you can choose to stop sharing analytics. However, I recommend that you keep that on. It helps us improve the application overall. And you can also enable accessibility mode. Under the Calls tab, you can see a couple features. We're not going to go into too deep here, but you can see your account phone number. You can make calls using Accession Communicator. Really, this pertains to if you have our Click to Dial feature, our Cloud CTI product, where you can swipe any number or click a number in a browser and it'll automatically dial out using Accession Communicator. This is what that's typically for. So don't want to change that too much, or you might get a bad experience. The communicator might stop working. Work with support if you think you need some of these options changed. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that the Enable Call Park is by default off. However, if you need it turned on, this is where you would check on that if your organization has call park keys and you would like to be able to use them with the soft client. In the chat tab of your Accession Communicator settings, you'll find the first two options are checked by default. Open the chat window when new messages are received and display a pop-up when new messages are received. So what that means is when you receive a message, it should pop up right here on the bottom right. And then when you click on that, it'll open up a new chat window so you can read it and then reply. And then you have some options here, how to send messages with enter. You can change that. How many messages should be loaded at any given time, and that's a quantity. Show when I'm typing, that's a personal preference thing if you want to show people that you're typing and responding quickly so that they stay focused on your conversation. And then lastly, change my status to away when I'm inactive for X amount of minutes. So you can always change that and show people that you aren't there. If you are inactive, if you walked away for lunch or something like that, it'll automatically show that your presence is inactive. In the audio tab, you'll find your audio settings like microphone, speaker, and notifications. You'll see right now mine is set for my headset, my Plantronics Savvy, but you can always change it to the laptop or workstation that you're using or whatever speakers or microphone that you may have that you want to use. So one thing that you should do from time to time, just as kind of good housekeeping, is log out or quit Accession Communicator. This will help just kind of keep everything fresh and in line, all the settings get restored and renewed. It's a good way if you're having any issues, it kind of cleans things out. It's very similar to rebooting your computer. And how you would do that, you can do that in one of two ways. You can come up here and click on Accession Communicator, quit Accession Communicator. Or the better thing to do is go to File and Log Out. Now, when you log out, it'll log you out completely. So when you click back on the icon, which is this right here down at the bottom. It will ask you to put your DID or phone number in and password. So obviously you're going to need to know what your DID is along with the password that hopefully you have changed. But that is how you log out and log back in for Accession Communicator.